So that's where we have this, they call it the deep state. And that's factual. Nobody really denies that. This is why the Democrats want to make it harder and harder and harder to fire anybody who's already in the deep state.
This is the Kevin Trudeau Show.
I am exposing the corruption in government and in major multinational corporations. We're telling you the things that they don't want you to know that will make your life better.
All right, so here's some of the news that they don't want you to know about. Biden administration rule makes it harder to fire federal employees. Now, this is very significant. This is a very significant headline because every 4 years, if you do an analysis, the number of federal and state, we'll call it government employees and contractors, goes up. The government, the bureaucracy gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And once a person gets into the government, it doesn't matter if they're effective or incompetent. It doesn't matter if they show up for work or don't show up for work. It doesn't matter if they show up drunk or high on drugs. It doesn't matter if they do a good job or a bad job. And it doesn't make a difference if they even do the job. They can't be fired at the end of the day. And that's why the government worker, and by the way, if you are a government worker, state, local, or federal, there are many of you that are outstanding, and I've met you. And when I meet somebody at the DMV that's sharp and pleasant and nice and on top of things and customer service oriented, I'm a little bit amazed, but I thank them for their service. They do a great job, and if that's you, you got my salute and you got my applause. But as we do know, that many times that's not the case. The government workforce, which is growing and growing and growing, and I'm going to be a little political here, not to tell you or suggest who you should vote for or what ideology or policies you should back up, because that's your own personal choice. Just make sure you make that choice based on facts and your own heart. What logically makes the most sense, not what just sounds good. So we'll put them in two categories, and there's the ultra-conservatives and the ultra-left-wing liberals. And then there's people in between, right? Okay. So the left-wing liberal organization, they want to stay in power, and all politicians want to stay in power. Let's just get that handled. So everybody wants to, first off, stay in power. Right now, the governments are 90% left-wing liberal. And we know that because in all the polling, they are left-wing Democrat liberal. Therefore, if you are in politics, if you're a politician and you're a left-wing liberal, you want more and more and more and more people working for the government, because you're going to have a stronger increasing base of voters that will vote left-wing liberal. And that way you stay in power. Also, if the government, the career government workers, they don't get elected, they're the ones who really run the government. If they're left-wing liberal, then that means even if there's a Republican president, a Republican Senate, and a Republican conservative House of Representatives, the millions of government workers and contractors, they're not going to follow orders. They are still going to be implementing their left-wing liberal policy. So that's where we have this, they call it the deep state. And that's factual. Nobody really denies that. This is why the Democrats want to make it harder and harder and harder to fire anybody who's already in the deep state, who's a government worker. Well, Trump came in and said, we're going to change that. And so the headline here reads, feeling of dread spreads across federal workforce as second Trump term looms. And it says the federal workforce is on edge and bracing itself for a likelihood that its ranks will be purged when President-elect Trump takes office. Because Trump said, look, if you're not doing a good job, you're fired. We're only going to keep people who are efficient, effective, work hard, and are following orders and doing what the elected people tell you to do instead of you doing the left-wing liberal policies that you want to follow. This is huge and critical. And somebody says, well, is this really true? FEMA supervisor fired for ordering storm crews not to help Trump voters. This article goes on to say, and this is all 100% documented. I don't just give you a hearsay. I verify everything. There's when Hurricane Milton hit Florida, FEMA, the federal relief agency, the federal agency came in, and one of the supervisors, who's a left-wing liberal who hates Trump and hates conservatives, said to the FEMA workers, if anybody has a Trump sign, don't help them. Don't go to that house. This is outrageous. This is supposed to be a left-wing, liberal, compassionate person. They care about illegal immigrants. They care about illegal immigrants. Make sure you give the illegal immigrants a house. Make sure you give the illegal immigrants a place to live, food, shelter, clothing, free medical care, a cell phone, $2,000 a month on a Visa card, give them free education. We have to have compassion for these illegal immigrants. That's the left-wing liberal. But if you're a Trump voter, where's the compassion? Let's be honest now. And I have friends who are left-wing liberals, close, dear friends that I love, absolutely love. But the friends that I have that are left-wing liberals, they don't spit on a right-wing conservative friend of mine. They will disagree respectfully and have a conversation and have dinner. That's the left-wing liberal that I love. Somebody who's open to listening and challenging a different opinion. Same thing with the right-wing conservative. Open to the other side. Let's debate. Let's argue. But let's shake hands. We don't spit on people. Does this make sense? Hi, I'm Kevin Trudeau. This is everything they don't want you to know about to improve the quality of your life. Broadcasting every Monday and Wednesday, 2 days a week now. Monday and Wednesday at 1 o'clock Chicago time. Make sure you tune in and subscribe to the channel and share these shows with everyone you know.